Come back. Example 3. Evaluate cosine squared x dx. So notice this is an even power of cosine. So here is a trick you use when you have even powers. Cosine of 2x, this is twice angle formula or the double angle formula. Cosine 2x is cosine squared x minus sine squared x. Sine squared in turn is 1 minus cosine squared. Sorry. So that negative with that negative makes it positive. So I have 2 cosine squared x minus 1. Okay. So cosine 2x is 2 cosine squared x minus 1. So what is cosine squared x by itself? It is cosine 2x plus 1 over 2. Alright. Again, cosine squared x is cosine 2x plus 1 over 2. So integral cosine squared x dx is integral cosine 2x plus 1 over 2. So that simply comes from this formula. So taking integration, what is integral of cosine? It is simply sine. Don't forget, this 2 makes one more 2 in the denominator with the original 2. So that's why I have a 4 here. Alright. Integral of cosine is sine, and that 2 gets me a 2 in the denominator. If you like, think of it as substitution. U equals 2x, and you can check. So integral of cosine 2x over 2 is sine 2x over 4 plus integral of 1 over 2 is x over 2, and don't forget constant of integration. Now here is evaluate integral sine power 7 of x. Now this is an odd power. What do we do when we have an odd power? Remove one of the powers aside and split the even power. So if I remove one sign here, 6 are left. I write it as sine squared power 3. What is sine squared? 1 minus cosine squared. So 1 minus cosine squared, the whole power 3 times sine x dx. Now use substitution, u equals cosine x. 1 minus u squared power 3 sine x dx is negative du. Expanding this, don't forget the negative. Expanding this, you have 1 minus 3u squared plus 3u to the 4th minus u to the power 6 du. Integral, don't forget the negative, u minus 3u cubed over 3 plus 3u to the power 5 over 5 plus u to the power 7 over 7. Alright. Replace u by cosine x. Distribute the negative and replace u by cosine x to get your final answer. Now, so that was when you have an odd power. You remove one of the sign. The even power is split as square certain power. That square is replaced by expression in cosine. What do you do when you have an odd power? Well, when you have an odd power, you go back to the trick we saw earlier here. Twice angle formula, cosine. Cosine 2x is cosine squared minus sine squared. Now, I want sine, so I don't want cosine. So I'll replace cosine squared by 1 minus sine squared. So that 1 is here. Minus sine squared and another minus sine squared is negative 2 sine squared. So that is cosine 2x. So what is sine squared x? Sine squared x is 1 minus cosine 2x, the whole over 2. You can check, right? Use this with this and solve for sine squared. Sine squared x is 1 minus cosine 2x, the whole over 2. So I have sine to the power 4x dx. So sine to the power 4x dx is sine squared x power 2. Sine squared x itself is 1 minus cosine 2x over 2. Its power 2. Now, square of 2 is 4, so 1/4 comes out. That is the denominator. The numerator, expand this. 1 power 2 is 1 minus 2 times this, so 2 cosine 2x plus cosine squared. So now notice this is another even power. As soon as we have even powers, we use double angle formula. Now double angle of 2x is 4x. So cosine squared 2x is cosine 4x plus 1 over 2. The same argument, same kind of argument we had over here. All right. So all of that gets me 1 minus 2 cosine 2x plus cosine 4x plus 1 over 2. That is because of the even power. So simplifying, see that 1 over 2 plus 1 is 3 over 2. Okay, 1 plus 1 over 2. This is negative 2 cosine 2x and this is positive cosine 4x over 2. So now all the powers are simply 1, so it's straightforward. Don't forget the constant multiple outside, 1/4. Integral 3/2 is 3x over 2 minus 2, 2. Integral cosine 2x is sine 2x over 2. Integral cosine 4x over 2 is integral of cosine is sine. That 4 gets me another 4 in the denominator. So along with the 2 is an 8. Don't forget constant of integration. So simplifying, this 2 cancels this 2. Everything else is the same. All right. Now here is an odd power. What do we do when we have odd powers? We take away one of the powers aside and keep the other, split it. Cosine squared x power 3 cosine x dx. Cosine squared is 1 minus sine squared x power 3. So now we are going to use the substitution u equals sine x. All right, because the 1 power is going to be your derivative. So when u is sine x, du is cosine x dx. So this is simply du 1 minus u squared power 3. So 1 minus u squared power 3 is 1 minus 3u squared plus 3u to the 4th minus u to the 6th. Integral of all this du. Integral of 1 is u minus integral of 3u squared is negative 3u cubed over 3 plus integral of 3u to the 4th is 3u to the 5 over 5 minus integral of u to the 6 is u to the 7 over 7 plus constant of integration. Don't forget to replace u by sine and that completes your answer. So odd power trick is to take one power aside as the derivative and the other power you need to rework it so as to get an appropriate substitution. Even power. What do we do with even power? Well, we have to use the twice angle formula. Cosine of 2x is cosine squared x minus sine squared x. So cosine squared, I want cosine, I don't want sine. So replace the sine squared by 1 minus cosine squared. In all, I get 2 cosine squared x minus 1. So cosine squared x is cosine 2x plus 1 over 2. So integral cosine power 4x dx is cosine squared x power 2 dx. So cosine squared x is cosine 2x plus 1 over 2. Rewrite that. Power 2. Now, power 2 of denominator 2 gives me denominator 4. The numerator expanded. So that gets me cosine squared 2x plus 2 cosine 2x plus 1 dx. So don't forget the constant multiple here. This, again, you have an even power. So again, you use the twice angle formula. This time, twice of 2x is 4x. So cosine squared 2x is cosine 4x plus 1 over 2. This is 2 cosine 2x plus 1 as it is. Now, this 1 over 2 plus 1 gives me 3 over 2. Okay, everything else is as it is. Don't forget the constant multiple. Integral of cosine is sine. Don't forget there is a 4 there. So divide by 4. In all, I get a division by 8. Integral of cosine is sine. Divide by 2. And there is a 2 from before. Integral of 3 by 2 is 3x by 2. So this simplifies, the rest is the same. All right. So when you have an even power, use twice angle formula. When you have an odd power, remove one of the powers aside and then use substitution. Let's try. Here I have an odd power of sine and an even power of cosine. So it's easier to separate the odd power. So remove one of the signs aside. So from sine to the fifth power, I remove it. 4 powers are left. So that's sine squared power 2. Sine squared itself is 1 minus cosine squared x power 2. There is a cosine to the power 4 to begin with in your question, and then sine x dx. So all we need is substitution. U is cosine x. Du will be negative sine x dx. I don't have a negative, so du becomes negative here, you see. Now 1 minus u squared power 2, u to the power 4 times negative du, get the negative out. 1 minus u squared power 2 is 1 minus 2u squared plus u to the power 4, and there is a u to the power 4 outside du. Don't forget the negative outside. Integral of, now distribute the u to the power 4. U to the power 4, 2u to the power 6, and u to the power 8. So with the negative outside, integral of u to the power 4 is u to the power 5 over 5 minus 2. Integral of u to the power 6, integral of u to the power 8 plus constant of integration. Don't forget u is cosine x, so negative outside, cosine power 5x over 5 minus 2, cosine power 7x over 7 plus cosine power 9x over 9 plus a constant of integration. Now here sine has even power, cosine has odd power. Always when you have an odd power, it's easier to split that power aside, whichever is the odd power. If they are both odd, you choose whichever one you like. So sine power 4, cosine power 5. Cosine power 5 has been split aside. One cosine is taken out. The remaining 4 has been split. So remember, this is going to be your du. If that's your du, u should be sine. In other words, replace cosine squared by 1 minus sine squared. So 1 minus sine squared power 2. U substitution, u equals sine x. So that is u to the power 4. That is 1 minus u to the power 2, all power 2. That gets me u to the power 4 as it is. Open this out. You see, expand this square formula, 1 minus 2u squared plus u to the power 4. Distribute the u to the power 4. Standard stuff. When you take integration, you get u to the 5th power over 5 minus 2u to the 7th power over 7 plus u to the 9th power over 9, and replace u by sine. Resubstitute them back, and that completes your integration. We'll continue next page in our next video. Okay.